Welcome, one and all, to another episode of Pacific 4 and 4 episode review. I am your host, Mike, and tonight on Pacific 4 and 4 episode review, I'm going to be reviewing episode 1 of season 1 of the Marvel Studios Marvel Cinematic Universe series, Wanda Vision, starring Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch and Paul Bettany as Vision. So, what do I think of this series, as a whole? Well, it takes a lot of clues from old 1950s, 1960s sitcom like Leave It to Beaver, I Love Lucy. You got the Dick Van Dyke Show and the Honeymooners and several others from that particular era where you have the housewife, the homemaker at home, making sure everything is running right, while the husband's at work, trying to do his job and trying to impress his bosses, just living life day in and day out. And you know, they did a real good job at capturing the spirit of those sitcoms from the 1950s and 60s, especially with the camera angles that they used. Oh, sorry about hitting the camera, but especially about the different camera angles that they used, and you know even having the intro start off in the 4:3 ratio that a lot of series up until the early 2000s would have been shown on TV because a lot of us had an old box TV back in the day. But, you know, what do I think of the series? Well, for first episode, I thought it was all right. You know, there were a few laughs here and there, and especially having all the characters, whether it be Wanda or Vision or even, you know, Vision's boss, Fred Hart, or his wife, Mrs. Hart, played by I've got her name written down here. I had to write it down. I was just gonna say, Kitty Foreman. All of you should know who that is if you watch that '70s show. But like I said, I've got it written down here. Let me just find it in my notes. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. I know. Oh, Deborah Jo Rupp. Took me a while to find it on my notes, but anyways, I had it written down there. But anyways, Kitty Foreman was Mrs. Hart, and you had probably gonna mispronounce his last name, so please forgive me. Fred Lamo, Fred Malamo. Like I said, I'm probably saying that wrong, but he was Mr. Hart. He was Vision's boss at a computation service where they computed all different forms and all different tax forms probably, and business forms, and you know the, the whole gist of it was is that it set up that Wanda and Vision were new to the neighborhood. You meet some of their neighbors. You meet Agnes, the next door neighbor, who's married to a character named Ralph, and basically she reminded me of a couple of the characters from the Honeymooners. I you know Except for Ralph Cramden. I'm forgetting the other characters' names, so if you're watching this, you can help me out here. But, anyways, you know, she reminded me of, you know, not only Ralph Cramden's wife, but also a little bit of Ethel from I Love Lucy. So, that kind of personality, that kind of, you know, snarky, witty, quick on the trigger type of humor with that character. And of course, Mr. Hart was your typical 1960s sitcom type of boss, as was Mrs. Hart being, your typical 1960s wife. And, it's interesting to see, you know, certain, clues as to what's going on because at one point you hear the sound effect that's used when Tony Stark fires, his weapon from his Iron Man suit, and it's slipping my mind at the moment, but you hear that sound, and there's even some, throwbacks to old 1950s commercials, and that's one of the scenes where you actually get that sound effect because they're talking about a Stark Industries toaster that can do all sorts of things. But there's a blinking red light, so they're giving you just little tidbits of, what might be going on, but they're not giving away too much. And honestly, you know, do I think this series is a great series? It's all right, as far as the first episode is concerned. Now, I will say that I have watched episode 2 already. I am not going to say what I thought of episode 2. You're just going to have to tune in tomorrow night for that review, but you know, episode 2, I'll give you my thoughts then and there. I don't want to spoil anything. But as far as this series is concerned, as far as, Marvel Studios, Marvel Cinematic Universe, Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was actually started with Spider-Man Far From Home, it's all right. It's all right. But again, this is only the first episode, and for me, it usually takes 3 episodes before I go, "Yay, I'm gonna, keep watching this series," or I go, "Nah, I'm gonna skip it." But there are some things that I saw in episode 1 that are making me think I'll keep going with the series for now. So, all in all, I think if you enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you'll enjoy this. If you like watching those old 1950s, 1960s sitcoms like Leave It to Beaver, The Honeymooners, I Love Lucy, Bewitched, I Love Jeannie, those type of shows, then you might actually enjoy watching this. But again, like I said, this is only episode 1 of a 9 episode series. I know episode 2 also dropped today. I'm just going to reiterate one more time that I have seen episode 2 already. I'm going to watch it again before I give my review tomorrow. So look forward to that. I just felt that I had done some Pacific 4 and 4 episode reviews where I've done 2 episodes and one live episode review or one recorded episode review. And with this, I feel I need to spread it out a little more, especially with it only being 9 episodes. So, we have 7 episodes left, and we'll see where the series goes from there. And honestly, like I said, the series is all right. It's not bad. It's just all right. But again, this is just episode 1. And, it, again, I'm going to reiterate that if you like the 1950s, 60s style of sitcom, you'll enjoy this. You like looking back on that stuff, you'll enjoy this. They definitely paid attention to a lot of the shows from that era. And, how the characters spoke, how the characters acted, you know, just how it was back then, which is perfect if that's where the setting's taking place. Obviously, it is. I mean, you look at the neighborhood that Vision and Wanda are living in, and it definitely takes a page out of Leave It to Beaver, in my opinion. And I remember watching Leave It to Beaver as a kid, and actually liking the series. And then, of course, you had other series like Dennis the Menace, you had Lassie. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of dating myself. Some might say, oh, he's a boomer, but no, no, I just remember watching some of these old shows growing up as a kid because they were on in reruns. So what are you supposed to do? But anyways, overall reaction to this episode, you know, it's pretty good, and especially, it establishes Wanda as that 1950s homemaker and Vision as the person who's out in the field, the workforce, and he has to impress his boss and has to invite his boss over for dinner because there's even a part in the episode where they look at the calendar and there's a heart on it, but both Wanda and Vision are trying to remember the significant let me try saying that again. Significance of that particular day on the calendar with the heart. And of course, it all comes to fruition with you know the dinner with Vision's boss and his wife, and one of the funny things is watching Wanda use her powers in the kitchen as she's trying to ready dinner because her neighbor Agnes came over with all the supplies, and there's one scene where you get a peek into the kitchen and you've got pots and pans floating in midair, you know things being mixed in a mixing bowl and all sorts of shenanigans going on. And I thought that was funny. uh, just the fact that they were you know using all the slang terms from back in the 50s and 60s, like it's a gas, golly, and a few others, that had some enjoyment. And that's pretty much what I'm getting from the series so far. I'm gonna say, I don't know whether I truly like the series or not. That's why I need to give it at least till episode 3 to really gauge it. But, you know, just with these little throwbacks to the commercials and the little hints that they're dropping as to what's actually going on outside of the setting, that's got me intrigued. That's got me hooked, line, and sinker to keep watching. So, if that was the goal of the writers and producers of the show, well, job well done, because I'm intrigued. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on episode 2, but you'll just have to tune in tomorrow. And until tomorrow, I just want to say I hope you all have had a good week and a good Friday. And I hope the weekend's good to you. And I want to thank, all my new followers on Twitch, new subscribers on the YouTube channel. I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate any follow I get on the Twitch channel and any subscriber I get on the YouTube channel. Same goes for any new followers on Twitter. Thank you very much. Want to thank you all for your support just by watching the videos. That really helps. I would like to ask anybody who's watching this for the first time. I know I didn't do an intro. Normally, there's an intro associated with my Pacific 414 episode reviews, but I do want to say any views and opinions I've give during these are mine after some initial viewings. Now, the opinions could change, after a period of time where, maybe I didn't particularly care for a series or a particular episode and I go back and watch it again, and maybe there's something about the episode I catch on that return viewing that I actually like that might help change my opinion of a series. But you know overall, anything you get on Pacific 4 and 4 episode review, that's just my reaction to it. You know, my view on it. Your view may vary. It will be different than mine. So that's fine. We all have different opinions. But as far as I'm concerned with WandaVision, I'm going to give it to episode 3 because, like I said, there are things that got my attention, little hints to what's actually going on in the series, what's actually going on as a whole. That's make me go, I need to give this show, you know, a broader chance, a wide berth, just to get the whole scope of what's going on. And that's what I plan to do. So, I hope you liked what you saw here. If you haven't done so already, please like this video on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this video if you'd like. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments section below. And anybody watching on Twitch, feel free to follow. As you have seen, I have done several live streams of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order recently, and you can find those videos on the YouTube channel as well under the gameplay videos. But for you Twitch followers, look forward to seeing some more probably sometime this weekend. Probably not until the evening, at least tomorrow. Meanwhile, on Sunday, I'm hoping that there's going to be an episode of Sunday Night Frontiers with myself and TKO. We'll see. We're still playing it by ear. We do have a different game that we want to try, and I'm waiting until Sunday night to actually try it. I know maybe I should get some practice runs into it, but I've got other things that I'm trying to do right now. So, you know, as far as that's concerned, you're gonna see the first time gameplay for a game that I will not announce what game it is. You'll just have to tune in on Sunday night for Sunday Night Frontiers, starting time at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. But tomorrow, look forward to seeing another Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order stream on both the Twitch and YouTube channels, as well as a Pacific 4 and 4 episode review where I review episode 2 of WandaVision. And that'll also be on the Pacific 4 and 4 Twitch and YouTube channel. So, thank you all very much. Hope you all have a good weekend. I will see you this weekend. And until then, catch you later. Take care.